That's right. If you haven't guessed by now, we're working on the Batman car. So let's get started. A buddy of mine, way out yonder in California, way on the other end of the world, hit me up on Facebook and asked me if I could do a car. So I was like, sure, I can do one. So he sent me a picture of it, and this is what he wants done. So I was like, sure, I can do it. So lo and behold, here we have it in our hands. The only request that he had at the time was different wheels. He wanted something bigger. But in the movie, this car is so long and so low to the ground, it might present two problems. The first one being, like I said, it's so long and everything, trying to put a bigger tire on there, I don't want it to jack it up and make it look like a four-wheel drive because the car is so long and so low in the movie. You know, that was one of the things about it. And if I go too big, I'll have to do some cutting and stuff on the base. And I really don't want to do that. I mean, I can, and I can make it look like I never did anything, but I really don't want to do that. So that's the only request he has as of right now, is just change these out and see if I can find something bigger. And I think we can. So let's go with it and let's get this bad boy apart. Now, anytime you do anything that you want to put back halfway to normal or have some kind of visual representation, is you want to take pictures of it from all angles. That way you can have a record of the decals, where they went, what headlights were painted, what tail lights were painted, or anywhere that there might be issues that you didn't know about. You can go back and look at the photos and everything. So always take good pictures from all angles so you can have a reference of what the car originally looked like when you got it, when you started. To get this bad boy apart, we had to drill these two posts out, and I'm not sure what size Ertl uses. From the ends of it, it looks like they're pretty large. I really don't know. So whenever you're working on something that you don't really know anything about, you always want to start small and work your way up. So I know typically the smallest post that they will use will be like large enough to get a 172 screw in it. So I'm going to assume that that's what this is, and if not, we can work our way up. So for a 172 screw, we're going to use a 1/16 drill bit and go down the middle. That gets us past the head of the post where they rolled it over and everything. And I'm going to oil it up too, because that helps provide lubrication, and for the drill bit, it helps keep it sharp and helps keep everything cool. But with that stated, all right, let's see what we have here. And with this being a plastic base and being old and vintage, you have to be very, very careful with this, because you sure don't want to break it. Because the only option if you break it is to buy another casting, if you can even find one, and basically waste a good car, for lack of better terms. But would you look at that? There's not even any kind of interior in it. All it is the body, which is pretty nice looking. It's got huge posts, as you can see. They're nice and long. They're good size, so I can go up in the size of the screw now. But there's no glass. It's just all die cast. You have the plastic base and two axles with four wheels, and they're just held in by that one little piece in the middle right there. That's cool. I like how they did this. It makes it ultra simple to work on and fix. But as you can see, these posts are really, really good. So what I did was I drilled down with the larger bit for the 256 screws, because that's what I'm going to put in. And I knocked the burrs off of the post. And yeah, that's what we're going with, is 256 screws. And I'm just going to snap it back together, make sure everything fits right, and make sure I'm happy with everything, and then you know where it goes from there. Because we can't leave it like this. But we're going to clean this base up with warm water and a good brush, and we'll work on these scratches. But let's get this thing in the stripper. But before we get it in the stripper, I want to test fit the wheels, because these are the ones I'm planning on going with. I'm going to test fit them. I'm going to make sure they fit, they roll properly, and then I'm going to send some pictures to the guy the owner of the vehicle and see what he thinks about them. If he likes them, that's what we'll go with. But here's how they look. This is the look that I was going for, and it adds a really cool detail to the body. It makes it a little more sinister looking, if you will. While I've got it ready and everything, I'm just going to go ahead and work on the base. I'm going to start off with some 350 sandpaper, and then I'll move up to 800, and then I'll move up to 1000. But all I'm doing is I'm trying to sand these scratches out, get rid of them. There's a couple little small gouges in it, and we're not going to mess with the lettering at all. We're going to stay away from that, but we're going to get right up to it and just sand it. Sand all the scratches out of it, everything that we can get out. We're going to sand the whole base and try to do it in one direction. Then we'll come back with the 800 and then the 1000, and that should give us a good working smooth surface to prime and paint. Now I'm going to go over it with the 3200 sanding sponge, just because I want it as smooth as I can possibly get it, and I'm going to make sure that I sand everything in the same direction. And then we'll take it in there and put it. Look at how slick that looks now. It looks almost polished compared to what I had. It's making a huge difference, and that's what I want. I want it to look as good as I can. But we're going to do this, take it in and wash it and see how it comes out. All right, here's what it looks like after being washed. I washed it in warm water and everything with a fine bristle toothbrush, and then I hit it with rubbing alcohol to get any leftover dirt off and grease off and all that good stuff. Because, you know, this is from roughly sometime around 1989. But there was one gouge that I just really couldn't get all the way out, and I didn't want to sand that much. So I'm hoping that the primer will fill it in. We'll see when we get there. If not, I might just have to hit it with the putty. I thought about doing something to the intake right here too, as far as paint wise, but I don't know. It's kind of one of those work in progresses where you think about it as you go. Alright, so I just sent photos of this bad boy with the wheels mounted, because I cut the axle tubes and everything and put them in. So I sent him some photos and a little short video of it rolling and how it looked, and he was happy with it. So I now have to go the green light to get this bad boy going. So the next step, you know it, we have to strip this bad boy. And no matter how good the Batmobile is, there's just some things that it cannot do. And one of them is escape the North Carolina clay. So I can't do the standard drop like that. She's going to have to go in a long ways. But she sinks up just like the rest of them. Sorry, Batman. I hope you got out before it went in. Tomorrow we'll dig this out and clean her up and go from there. Bet the Joker wished that he would have come up with North Carolina red clay or come to North Carolina to fight Batman. That's the only way he could get away from this car. Alright, we got this bad boy ready to paint. So today what we're going to be using is opaque black from Createx. Not really a flat black, it's just a black. But I'm going to put this on and then I'm going to coat it with a matte black finish. And if I don't like it, because we discussed it and he's wanting more of a matte finish or flat finish. If I don't like it, I'll just restrip it, reprime it, and repaint it. But let's see what this looks like. Alright, let's get this bad boy put together. I've been talking back and forth with the owner of this vehicle on details, you know, what he wanted done and all that stuff. So it's not your typical Batman car. We did not do a straight up restoration on this. We made a few changes. With that being stated, he wanted to go with the whole dark Batman type thing. You know, how you gonna fight crime if you're riding around with bright headlights and high gloss paint and all that stuff. So what we did was I painted this a flat black or flat clear over the black and did a little detail work on the rear. I'll show it to you here in a minute. And I did the amber running lights up front. And I think it turned out marvelous. I think the choices that he made, and I'll explain more about them when I show you the car. But I think the choices he made this car look that much better. At the beginning, I thought it was going to be a straight up restoration with maybe a wheel swap. And here you can see the wheels. These are the wheels that I put on it. And I think they look absolutely gorgeous with this car. So let's get it together and I shall show you what we come up with. I think it is just a beautiful, beautiful car. When I did this, I told him I didn't know if I'd be able to, and it was kind of a tease. I knew what I was going to do all along. I told him I didn't know if I was going to be able to get rid of those scratches on the base. Well, what do you think? You think I got rid of them? You know, you want surprises for the owners of these vehicles and everything. You don't want them to know everything that's going on, and that's no different here. That's exactly what we did. I kept him in the dark, if you will. Now the owner of this car was in the military, so one of the things that he requested was to do the brake lights in blue, because blue light in the dark does not travel that far, you know, like a dark blue, and they actually use that on their running lights. So he requested that I do the brake lights and turn signals on the back in blue as a representative and a throwback and a memory to those times. And he only wanted the front done in amber. like a regular turn signal. Well, with this being the Batman car, you just don't want bright turn signals. So what I did was, and I took pictures of it and sent it to him, little teaser shots showing him what I did and everything. And what I did was I put a light coating of amber on it. And I'll show you here right now. You can see there's just a very, very light coat of amber on there. Just enough for you to see that they're there. But outside of that, nope. But I sent him a picture and asked him if he wanted any brighter, and haven't heard anything back from him. Let me see. I'll check right now. Nope, no looks good. All right. He sent a message back and said, no, looks good. So we're good to go with that. So here's the before shot. As you can see, it's a beautiful casting. I think this is from like 1989 or something like that. And it's from Ertl, first Ertl car I've ever worked on. And, they're very, very simple. I like them. I like everything about them. And it's just, so cool of a little car. But it's the Batman, and you can't go wrong with Batman car. And one of the things that he requested was to leave that big Batman decal off the top, because I told him I could get them, but he said no. He said it wasn't in the movie. That's not what I want. So we took it, we transformed it. I fixed the bottom, got rid of the scratches, and I redid the top. And this is what we came up with. But before we do that, I would like to thank the owner of this car for allowing me to do this for him. I so greatly appreciate the fact that he trusted with my ability to be able to do it, or at least assume that I had the ability to do it and make the right choices, and work together to come up with what he envisioned. I think we did a great job with it, and here's what we have. Thank you all so very much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.